Rajiv Prabhu, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. So I welcome everyone for this online weekly Bhagavad Gita class. And today we have a very special speaker like Chetan Prabhu is there. So personally, I know him from I think from 2021 end or 2022. So uh, little I can speak about him. Like he's a very sincere devotee. He's a like he joined DYA session I think in last year on 2021. And when I meet with him in Albert Road, when I was in Albert Road temple. So first time I met with him, and then we started yatra together, like in Tirupati and all. So yeah, I would say like he's very sincere devotee, and he does a very lot of sevas. Especially, he's a coordinator of our yatra. Yeah, so that's all. And I will request now Chetan Prabhu to please speak for today's session. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, if you can add something, Hare Krishna.
Audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, you're audible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Kamaraj, who can speak about Chetan?
So especially I would like to mention about the yatra that we did together in Ahobilam. So Ahobilam, it was very tough for us coming with two kids. So at that time, Chetan through all that, walking alone itself is very tough. But not only that, Chetan through was holding and supporting us constantly in taking care of, like he was personally catching hold of and lifting the child, and then walking for such a long distance is very difficult, but then also he is constantly doing that. Like if you see, by doing that we will be walking slow, and devotees will be like, we will be somewhat missing the devotees. Even then he was not taking not worrying about that and constantly helping me. So in that way I can see how Prabhuji is always humble, at the same time having service attitude. So sometimes if you're doing service, somewhat like pride may come. So but Prabhuji is a mix of both, at the same humble, at the same time doing service having good service attitude. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and sorry for the trouble during the yatra. At the same time, Prabhuji is mental, like managing all the it is very tough to manage where we don't know the language. So entire yatra he was actually taking care of all devotees very patiently, at the same time extending himself for other services also. So it's very inspiring.
Okay, I'll start with the session now.
Yes.
We begin with the pranam mantra first. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
You're audible.
So we begin with the pranam mantras first. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padanayam Tadati Swapatanti. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakam Shri Gurun Vaishnavans Shri Upam Sagradatam Saganaratam Tam Sadivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parigata Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindhyavashwari Vishabhanu Sukari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Kaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Ram. So today we'll be presenting Bhagavad Gita from verse 31 to verse 40. So these verses are very special verses personally for me, because these verses actually bring out a lot of realization, and actually is among those few verses that are really uh, in depth and brings in line the devotees with Krishna consciousness specifically. So before I begin discussing on each of the verses specifically, I'd like to give a breakdown of each of the contents of each of the verses first. Small concise content of each of the verses. From verse 31 to 32, uh, here Krishna is stating to Arjuna what are the duties of a Kshatriya, and what are the reasons Arjuna should consider before fighting in the battle. From verses 32 to 33 to 36, Arjuna is specifically being told by Krishna what are the disqualification that he is going to bring on to himself if he chooses not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. In verses 37 and 38, Krishna is specifying the exact benefits that Arjuna would bring onto himself by fighting in the battlefield. Verse 39 states the mood in which Arjuna would fight in the battlefield. And in verse 40, it is a very important verse where Krishna mentions that any progress in the path of bhakti actually never diminishes, unlike the activities we perform in the material world. So we begin with each of the verses separately. The first verse, which is verse 31. In verse 31, the Lord is directing Arjuna to perform his duties as a Kshatriya. And Prabhupada explains the duty of Kshatriya or the Swadharma of Kshatriya as Dharma Yadi Udyacha. That is, one who is always ready to fight. In this context, I would like to share one lecture of Prabhupada, which he gave in London in regarding this verse only. When he was discussing about the duties of the Kshatriya, Prabhupada mentioned that what should be the ideal form of a Kshatriya, or what should be the ideal form of a secular government. तो प्रभुपाद इस लेक्चर में कहते हैं कि सेकुलर गवर्नमेंट या एक क्षत्रिय जब अपना ड्यूटी निभाता है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि वो अपने लोगों को कुछ भी करने दे अपने मन के मुताबिक, धर्म के नाम पे कुछ भी करने दे, ये सेकुलर गवर्नमेंट का एग्जाम्पल नहीं है. सेकुलर गवर्नमेंट का एक्चुअल मतलब होता है, या क्षत्रिय का एक्चुअल ड्यूटी ये होता है कि वो लोगों को इंश्योर करे कि वो रिलीजियस प्रिंसिपल्स को फॉलो करे, चाहे वो हिंदुइज्म हो, क्रिश्चियनिज्म हो, जैनिज्म हो, और जो भी वो रिलीजन वो फॉलो करे वो अपने रिलीजन्स को थॉरोली फॉलो करे और इंश्योर करे कि हर लोग अपने रिलीजियस प्रिंसिपल्स के मुताबिक चले. ये होता है एक क्षत्रिय के ड्यूटी. So in verse 2.31, Krishna is specifying that Arjuna should actually perform his duties as Kshatriya. In the next verse, verse 2.32, Krishna is stating that Arjuna as a Kshatriya should be happy that he has gotten the opportunity to fight in the battlefield. Because in this, by fighting in this battlefield, there will be only two outcomes. One is that Arjuna wins the battle. If Arjuna wins the battle, Krishna says that he'll be able to enjoy the kingdom that he has won over. And if he loses the battle, he would be elevated to a higher planetary system. If he dies in the battlefield, he will be elevated to a higher planetary system. So, Krishna is emphasizing that if you perform your duty, you win or you lose. In both ways, Arjuna will be benefited. That is what he is stating in verse 32. In verse 33, Krishna goes on to explain Arjuna that not fighting, if Arjuna chooses not to fight in the battlefield, he won't be considered like someone who is very caring or kind or compassionate to his enemy. by not choosing to fight in the battlefield, it would actually bring infamy, dishonor, disrespect. And Prabhupada goes on to mention in his purport that not fighting in the battlefield, Arjuna would actually prepare his royal road to hell. So in verse 2.33, Krishna says to Arjuna that use all preparation and incur a sin by not fighting and ignoring your duties as a Kshatriya. In verse 2.34, Prabhupada's purport mentions that Krishna says to Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield, people will call you coward. And if you think people may call you by bad name and you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is to you that rather fight and die in the battlefield, because for you ill fame is worse than death." So we can see that Krishna is reiterating the same thing again and again, that fight. If you're not fighting, you will lose out on a lot of aspect, your fame, your respect, your glory, all that will get washed out if you leave the battlefield. In verse 2.35, Krishna further states to Arjuna that by fleeing the battlefield, great generals would think of him as a coward and overlook the mood of compassion that Arjuna possesses in his heart for his brothers and grandfathers. In verse 2.36, Krishna reiterates that many people will talk ill of him, and it is more glorious to die in the battlefield in comparison to the ill fame he would bring upon himself by fleeing the battlefield. So from verse 33 to 36, we can constantly see that Krishna is again and again warning Arjuna that you fight. It's better you die in the battlefield, but you fight. For not performing your duty is actually more sinful. And as Prabhupada mentioned in his purport, that if Arjuna does not fight, he is actually preparing a royal road to his hell. So in these verses, we see he must perform his specific duties as per as in whichever varnashrams he is falling in. In verse 2.37, again Krishna points out that you must perform your duty. You die in the battlefield, that is okay, but you must perform your duty. Verse 2.38. Here Krishna sternly says to Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna," this is one of the very important verses where Krishna says, that actually brings out the mood of Krishna consciousness into it. Here Krishna sternly says to Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, don't fight for happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. Just fight to perform your duty. And furthermore, perform this duty because it's my desire." In the purport, Prabhupada mentions, one who performs his duty for Krishna are in transcendental consciousness and are no longer bound by the reactions of the material activity. So even if Arjuna kills his own brothers and teachers and relatives in the battlefield, he would not be incurring any sin because he is performing that specific task for Lord Krishna. In verse 2.39, there is a detailed discussion between Arjuna and Krishna regarding two yogas. One is Sankhya Yoga and one is Bhakti Yoga. So in this verse and the purport, there is a full analysis of what Sankhya Yoga is and what Bhakti Yoga is. Sankhya Yoga is the analytical study of body and soul. Krishna has already explained in the earlier verses that when Arjuna is killing his own relatives, he is just killing their body. Their souls are eternal. It will just be transformed from one body to another. It's just like when we change a dress. The soul just gets transferred from one body form to another body. So this is the Sankhya Yoga. This is actually the analytical study of the body and the soul. But Buddhi yoga or bhakti yoga, as Prabhupada states, is we act simply according to the direction of the master or the supreme. When we completely surrender unto the Lord with complete faith and love, we free ourselves from the bondages of the material activity. Krishna states that till now I have given you an analytical study. What is soul? How it gets transferred? Why you should fight? What are your duties? But now I shall give you the knowledge, and by that intelligence of that knowledge, you will be free from the bondage of fruitive results. That is, you will be completely surrendered onto my directions. You will be fighting for my desire. That's what is mentioned in this verse 2.39. Verse 2.40 is a very important verse for all we practicing devotees, because this gives us a lot of encouragement in performing our bhakti. Often this question arises कि हमने इतने सालों तक भक्ति किया, लेकिन अभी भी हमारे अंदर वो अपराध, वो फॉल्ट्स, वो मिस्टेक्स रह गए हैं, तो उसका क्या होगा? हमने जो इतनी मेहनत से भक्ति में लीन होके इतने समय बिताए, लेकिन हमने पूरी तरीके से वो योगा को प्रॉपर्ली अपने जीवन में नहीं उतार पाए, तो उसका क्या होगा? तो उस प्रश्न का उत्तर कृष्णा वर्स 2.40 में क्लियरली मेंशन है। वो क्या कहते हैं? कृष्णा स्टेट्स दैट एनी एक्टिविटी वी परफॉर्म इन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस इज नेवर लॉस्ट। In material plane, unlike in material plane, where we need to complete a particular task till the end to finish or complete the task. If we leave the task in the middle, in a material activity, then the task is lost. We need to start from the beginning again. But that does not happens in case of Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada says that even 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent result. So the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activities, without 100% success, there is no profit. Material activities and their results ends with the body. The work in Krishna consciousness carries a person to Krishna consciousness again, even after loss of the body. So, to conclude this entire presentation is that in each and every verse, if we bring the crux, it's the whole crux comes down to Krishna consciousness. All devotees are being, means after reading the Bhagavad Gita, it is clear, it is being mentioned again and again that Krishna consciousness is the only way out, because the only way we can transfer ourselves from this material consciousness to the transcendental consciousness, and then after realizing that we are ultimately the servant of the Lord, that is only possible by performing the process and the methods mentioned in Krishna consciousness. And everything that we do means in this material world should be in this mood of Krishna consciousness, because that's the way by which we can get transferred from this material world to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Chetan Prabhu. It's I think you have explained very clearly all verses, the gist of all verses. So now we will chant one sloka and then try to reshare what Chetan Prabhu has told. So anyone can recite the first sloka? Mintu Prabhu, can you read the first sloka?
Kamaraj Prabhu, you can read the line and then
Okay.
anyone can repeat that.
Okay, Mintu Prabhu, you can repeat once I read the first line. Swadharmam apicha vekshya Anyone else? Or Amit, do
Yes, so I am doing provision.
Okay, okay.
Savadharma api kaveksya
Navikampitum arhasi
navikampitam arhasi
dharmyadhi yudhayat shreyonyat
dharmayadi dhiya yudha shreyo nyat
kshatriyasya navidyate.
kshatriyan kshatriyasya vidyate. Translation, Prabhu.
Yes, please read.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
Yes, Pradeep. So here I would like to say a few things. Please pray like as Balram Mantroji ordered me, and though I am not eligible, I am trying to say. One is if you see Kshatriyas has to perform their one as a person has to perform their duties, and Kshatriya's duty is to protect the civilian and then destroy the persons who are violating the law. So that is the primary duty of the Kshatriya, and that they have to do it. They should not go for compassion for people who are doing wrong and then leave them. So that's what is Krishna is trying to say, that Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya, and people who are doing wrong things, we have to condemn and then give proper punishment to them by giving a proper fight. Here, if you see here, that's why I think in olden days there is a capital punishment. Capital punishment is if anyone has done something wrong like thief or thievery or theft or anything else, there is there is some like if the severity of the wrongness crosses some threshold, then they used to on the spot give it. A king used to on the spot give a decision of death, and people used to hang them. So that in general people say that this is harsh, but that is required, because that will actually create some kind of fear and make people to abide law. So this is the fear, this is the this is the duty of Kshatriya to be strict for the wrongdoers. So that's what Krishna is stressing here. And we can try to imbibe in our life. In our life also, we are two entities. One, our material life and spiritual life. As we have taken the body, as a student or as an employee or as an entrepreneur, whatever is there, so that we have to give a full support, and we have to put our entire effort in that. And and as a soul, as a servant of Krishna, we need to take care of our spiritual life also by giving food to soul. The food to soul is ABCD. A is association, associate with devotees, and B is books, reading books constantly every day, at least for 10 to 15 minutes. And then C is chanting attentively. Anyway, we are investing that time, so why to waste, why we have to take the maximum benefit out of it by chanting attentively. And diet, and try to take the diet to the extent possible that is offered to Krishna. So once you're able to do that, we are able to give proper food to soul. And of food to body is whatever duty that has been allotted to you as we are in this body. Doing that 100% is very very important, so that both are taken care. So that's how I can just simply remember how in my during my voice days when I was studying in IIT Kharagpur, Radhesham Prabhu was designed so nicely the schedule that we used to follow every day, that we used to give proper time to studies and excel in studies, at the same time take care of our soul also. So once if you are able to do these two things fully, then you are like a complete person. Like people can get really inspired by you, and you also feel so much joyful and satisfied. So that's how it is very very important. Yes, Akash, can you repeat once I read this sloka?
Yes,
He only just now
Oh.
repeated.
Okay, okay. Mintu Prabhu, can you repeat now? You are available now? Or?
Okay, Prabhu.
यदृच्छया चोपपन्नम
Trichosopamman
I will increase the font. स्वर्गाद्वारम् अपावृतम्
Swadadham Apatrayam
सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ
Nakshatra
लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्
Vante Uddatim Ishante.
Can you read the translation, Rosie?
Yeah, I will read Kamaraj Prabhu. O Parth, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heaven.
So this is actually countering the Arjuna's argument that Arjuna said, if I fight, I will be killing my relatives, and how I will be happy by killing my relatives. So it is just an indication to answering Krishna is refuting that argument that Arjuna said. Arjuna said that if I fight, if I win also, how can I enjoy by if my relatives are not there? And if I defeat also, I will not enjoy. So that was the argument that is made by Arjuna. And to that, Krishna is saying that Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Here Krishna is saying that in case if Arjuna lost his life in battle and lost the battle, then he will go to heavenly planets where he can enjoy. And in case if he wins, then he is establishing the righteous dharma in the kingdom. So for that, as he has performed Kshatriya duty very properly, he should be very, very happy. So that's what is the instruction that is given by Kshatriya, by Krishna. Here we can see that how Arjuna, he ourselves can put in our put on like as we deal with our daily problems, either is spiritual problems, then we ourselves can't move out of that problem by solving it ourselves. So that is why we have a good counselor system where we can actually get guidance from the persons who have already traveled the path and can guide us from having a long vision, and as we will not be able to think so much. So here that's what in similar way Arjuna is doing. When Arjuna is confused, he is asking Krishna genuinely that this is my thought process, I am thinking like that. If I do battle, I may not enjoy. If I win or if I lose, then Krishna is giving him the guidance that do please do fight, because as Kshatriya you have to fight, and if you lose also, if you are losing your battle also, you'll go to heavenly planet, then also you'll enjoy. If you win as a Kshatriya, you have performed your duty, then also you'll enjoy. So that's how the guidance is given by Krishna. So in our life also, any problems are we are facing any problems, or if you see that if you are stagnant in Krishna consciousness, if you're able to like in our heart of the heart, it will be there, no, what I'm doing is not right, I need to progress in Krishna consciousness, I need to do something, but we can't do ourselves. When we approach the superior power through the form of devotees, then only we can actually, by the prayers of them and by the guidance of them, we can easily transcend this material life, and yeah, we can easily transcend all the anarthas and progress in spiritual life. So this is like an example is given, like for example, if a mm, if a motorcycle is there, if a cycle is there, and how much ever you try on yourself also, the speed of cycle may increase from 5 kmph to 10 kmph or 12 kmph, but not more than that. But if the cycle is connected to car, then it can go to 180 80 kmph, 100 kmph. So though the speed can be achieved only by getting connected to car. So in this also, in our spiritual life, if you want to accelerate and if you want to grow very far, the only way is to get connected to the spiritual house, a spiritual powerhouse, which is Krishna. And how we can get connected? It is by devotees. So devotees are connected. There is a parampara system, and if you are connected to this parampara, proper parampara, we can accelerate our bhakti and can overcome all the problems that we face with their guidance. And here we can see the examples also how people got transformed. For example, if you see the Valmiki Muni, Ratnakar, he was actually a thief, but just by the association of devotee and guidance of devotee, he took the guidance and followed it sincerely. And that's how he actually has become one of the great devotees of the Lord Ram. And if you see Mrugari, the kind of sinful activities he was doing was lot, and it is very tough for us to move, avoid that. That is his very livelihood. But just by moments association of devotees and by receiving the instructions with faith and following it, they actually made Mrigari a great devotee. And there are several examples like that in history, where just by getting connected to devotees and following their instructions, and in the case of Arjuna also, just getting connected to Lord directly himself and following the instructions that are given by the Lord, they are able to progress well in Krishna consciousness. Rekha Mataji, can you recite this verse? I will recite and you can recite after me. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam
अथा चेतम इमं धर्म्यम
sangramam na karishyasi
संग्रामं न करिष्यसि
tathasva dharmam kirtim cha
ततः स्वधर्मं किंचिच्छ
hitva papam avapsyasi.
कृत्वा पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Can you read translation, Mataji?
Yeah. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Thank you. So here, if you see, one is not able to perform his duties properly. One thing is that they will get infamy. Like people will say, Kshatriya, the foremost thing is to fight vigorously and protect his people and condemn the people who are doing wrong. And in case if they are not doing it, then they will get infamy and lose the people will condemn. I say that these Kshatriyas are not worth enough to be Kshatriyas. They are running away from the battlefield. So that is also once we get that infamy, we can't be happy. We can't do our duty as a Kshatriya and we can't be happy. So that is why important focus is given to perform our material duty also. So Radhesham Prabhu says that we have to give 100% to our material duty also in parallel to Krishna consciousness. And if you are able to if you have sincere will, Krishna will give time to maintain both our material duty and spiritual duty to 100%. And if you are doing your spiritual duty to 100%, material duty to our 100%, we will have enough mental space and enough encouragement to do spiritual duty also. For example, if you, as a student, if you are able to get good marks, then two things will happen. You will feel happy and practice more and more Krishna consciousness. At the same time, other people seeing that a good person who is getting good marks is doing Krishna consciousness, they will also actually perform, get inspired to follow Krishna consciousness. So our material duty also, we should never neglect. We should give our 100% to our material duty along with spiritual duty. And here one may get doubt that in case if you are doing material duty, we may get attached to material duty. But if you are having proper consciousness and if you are able to give the results that have been obtained from the material duty to Krishna, so then our entire life will get spiritualized. One is that we are doing spiritual duties separately, at the same time material duties also. If the results that are getting from material duty, if you are able to give it to Krishna, so the material duty also gets converted to spiritual duty, so it becomes 100% spiritual duty. So that's how yeah, the whole thing works. uh, Chitra Mataji, can you repeat the verse after me?
जी प्रभु जी.
Akirtim chapi bhutani
अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि
kathayishyanti te vyayam
कथायिषन्ति ते वयं
sambhavitasya chakirtir
संभावितस्य च कीर्तिर्
maranad atirichyate.
मरणाद् अतिरिच्यते.
Can you read translation, Mataji?
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than
Death. Yeah. So here it is being further explained that people will speak when we become infamous, when people criticize us, then dishonor is worse than death. So that is how character is very, very important. If you see here, for a man to be successful, we require three things. One is character. Sorry, first is competence. So for our material duty to do properly, we require competence. Competence is that skill. If you are a student studying properly, if you are a businessman doing business properly with nice tactics, and if you are a job holder, the respective skills that you perform, that you have to do, that you have to top. So competence in this in the world of competition, cutthroat competition, if you, unless you have competence or high skills, you can't survive. So competence is first, and second is character. Character is, once you are like, it is told how character is very, very important. It is more important than health. If you lose money, you lose nothing. If you lose health, you lose something. But if you lose character, you lose everything. So that's how character is very, very important. So here that is linked to here, that is being focused. Character is more important than life. If you harm this, if you get infamy for your character, if you get dishonor for your character, so that is better than that. That is better than infamy. So that's how we should have utmost character. Else, if you are having if you are not having character, you will not feel happy. You always feel dull, and you always feel remorse, and you always feel guilty in heart. So character is very, very important for us to be energetic. And the third one is devotion. So devotion is a root cause for character. You see that once you are practicing Krishna consciousness, once you are practicing spirituality, almost automatically the devotion will come to our heart. And then once you have character, devotion and character, automatically you will have enough time and focus to improve the competence. So the root for everything is devotion. So once you have devotion, you will have character, and you have character, you will have competence also. So once you have all these three, you will become like a full where you'll feel like a full energetic and successful person. So everything comes from devotion. Amit Prue, can you repeat after me? Bhayadranath upha ratham. Probably Amit Prue is not there. Arun Prue, you are there. Can you repeat after me?
Yes, bro.
Bhayadranath upha ratham.
भयाद्रनाद् उपरतं
Mamsyante tvam maharatha.
मां स्वन्ते त्वं महारथा
येषां च त्वं बहुमतो
येषं च त्वं बहुमतो
भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
Can you read the translation, Broji?
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
So this is again continuation of the earlier verse. Like even though we did out of compassion that we are not fighting. Arjuna told that I will not fight because of compassion. I will not want to kill my relatives. That will not be treated as that, and that will be treated as you ran away from battlefield out of fear. So that will be thought in that way, and it is very difficult to take for a human being to take a remark on our character and on our competence. So that's what is explained here over here. Only who can take that remark with pleasure and so much competence, who is having, only Krishna has. So whatever Krishna do, it is glorified. So Krishna is glorified as Ranachor when he was running away from the battlefield after along with Mother Rukmini. So only Krishna can take. So whatever it is said that what is the difference between the what we can learn, how we can learn from Lord Ram and Lord Krishna. We have to learn from Lord Rama's activities, whatever Lord Rama did, and from Krishna Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, we have to learn from what Krishna is saying. Because Krishna's activities are bewildering. It is into rasas, the kind of stealing the butter, or else running away from the battlefield, and marrying so many wives. So these all are like Krishna Lila. So Krishna is primarily has come to do exchange different mellows with the devotees. So the activities of Krishna we can't mimic. Only the instructions of Krishna can be taken, and the activities of Rama has to be inspired us, and we have to follow Lord Ram in terms of activities, and Lord Krishna we have to follow in terms of his teachings. And here it is saying that in the same way you cannot ignore our duty, and we cannot maybe we do people don't understand our internal meaning why we are not doing our duty, and they will score that will bring us infamy. So Arjuna, Krishna is instructing Arjuna, you have to follow your duty and don't skip your duty. Shushant Bro, can you repeat this verse, Proji? Avachavaadhamsha bahun
अवाच्यवादांश्च बाहु
vadishyanti tavahitha
वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिता
nindantastava samarthyam
निन्दतस्तव सामर्थ्य
tatho dukkhataram nukim.
ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Yes, please read translation.
Translation. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
It is also in continuation, especially infamy will come that all people will make mimic us or do a wrong commentary on the people who on Arjuna, but in the enemies will comment even more, and that is not bearable, especially for Kshatriya. Atul Prabhu, can you read after me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hato va prapshyasi swargam
Hato va prapsesi sarvagam
jitva va bhokshyase mahim
jitva bhoksyase mahim
tasmat uttishta kaunteya
tasmad uttishta kaunteya
yuddhaya krita nischayah.
yudhyaya krita nischaya.
Can you read translation, brother?
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
So this is kind of clear instruction that we are getting. Uh, that we are getting.
Am I audible? Audible, Kamaraj, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. One point you are mentioning regarding that Lord Krishna's activities and Krishna's instructions. That is a very nice point. However, in terms to Lord Ram and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their activities also need to be taken and then kept in practice, because they both came not as Lord. Lord Ram was appeared as as a human being. He meant as a Purna Purushottama, perfect human being, how one should behave. He showed through his life. And second is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came as a perfect devotee. So both of them showed character. Lord Ram showed the character aspect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed the devotional aspect. So both of them lives also need to be considered. However, Krishna certainly, as you mentioned, you cannot imitate the Krishna's activities. You can take the Krishna's instructions. That is a very nice point. But when it comes to Lord Ram and Lord Chaitanya, their lives also need to be imbibed in learns. We can learn lessons from their lives also and apply. That as a human being, what we are supposed to do, that we can learn from Lord Ram and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Grihastha, he was doing sadhu seva, and he was doing his responsibilities. As a sannyasi, he was very careful. Similarly, Lord Ram took the vow of Ekapatni Vrata. He remained connected to only one wife. And he did everything for the sake of taking care of it, like that. Just thought of sharing this point. Now network is there, therefore I on and spoke. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. O son of Kundi, either you will be killed on the battle. So this is again a continuation of how Krishna is instructing. Instructing. So this is the final instruction that Krishna told. So here, Yuddhaya Krita Nishchayaha. So here Krishna is saying, so Yuddhaya, the war, it has to happen certainly. So that is a clear instruction Arjuna got from Krishna. So here we can see that how Arjuna is getting instruction from Krishna, and if the same thing if you see from our counselors. So if you're able to see that connection of counselor in the parampara to Krishna, then we can actually realize the importance of instruction that we are getting from devotees are actually in parampara, and directly we are getting from Krishna itself. That's why if you are able to link the parampara, and then we can actually value the instruction that we are getting from our counselors. Priyanka Mataji, can you repeat after me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Shukha dukhe same kritva
Sukha dukkha same khitva
labha labhau jaya jayau
labha labha jaya jayo
tato yuddhaya yujyasva
tato yuddha so yujyasva
naivam papam avapsyasi.
naivam papam yaja ayobhati.
Can you read translation, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Do troops fight for the sake of fighting without
Considering
considering happiness or duty, distress, loss or going word, Victoria or different,
defeat.
and by so during you small never
You read it.
by doing by so doing you shall never incur sin. So here it is said that one here Arjuna said that by killing others in the battlefield we may incur sin. So that is the statement or argument given by Arjuna. By killing our own relatives, grandfather, guru, we may incur sin. So here Krishna is refuting that argument what Arjuna said. Here he is saying that if you are doing your duty, and that too as per the instruction given by Krishna, and that too that is not for your happiness or for your sense gratification, then you will not incur sin. So that is a clear instruction that is given here. And here sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress. So here the first statement says fighting for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress. So here it is very important that when you are performing our duties, we should not see whether by performing the duty we will get happiness or we will not feel happy. We should rightfully perform that, keeping in mind that I am doing this duty for the satisfaction of Krishna. And if you are able to do that with that attitude, we will be able to give 100% to our duty whatever we are doing, and the quality also of that will improve, and consistency also will improve. And over a long time people see that how nicely you are able to do the duty. And if you are doing something for your happiness or distress, for your happiness, then the quality won't be proper and there won't be any consistency. Once you feel extremely happy, and then you will not perform after that. And once you are not able to perform that, then you will feel distress, and with that distress you will get further you will performance will further go bad. So all these things will happen when we actually do any activity for our happiness, or we are getting emotionally connected to it. But once if you are able to do by having a connection that all this I am doing because it is my duty and I need to satisfy Krishna, then we can actually perform all activities better. And how to get that consciousness that whatever activity I am doing, I can do it for Krishna. That we can only get by two things. One is following spiritual activities regularly by doing chanting, taking Krishna Prasadam, associating with devotees, all these things. And second, that is very, very important, the fruits, whatever you are getting from this material activity, if you are able to donate, if you are able to give it to Krishna, then we can ourselves feel okay. If you are able to give the fruits to Krishna, automatically that consciousness will get built in. I am doing for the happiness, for the purpose, for to satisfy Krishna and not for my happiness. So this we can understand from here. Roshni Mataji, can you repeat this first, Mataji? एषथे विहिता सांख्ये
एषदे विहिता सांख्ये
बुद्धिर्योगे इमां शृणु
बुद्धिर्योगे तिमां शृणु
बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ
बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ
कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि
कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
Can you read translation, Mataji?
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it, in terms of working without fruitive result. O son of Parth, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
So here the Nishkama Yoga is mentioned. Here if you see, there are two things, and one is having knowledge that everything belongs to Krishna, and second is just a minute, if I show the slide there.
You can explain what is Nishkama, Haribol.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. Or you tell the terminology Nishkama what it is. Okay.
Okay. Proji, can you say, Proji, if connection is proper?
No, I'm telling you, explain properly Sakama, Nishkama, Akama. These three terms either, na? You can explain on that.
Proji, I am not very confident in those, Proji. If you can explain clearly.
Okay. Any activity we do for sake of getting some fruits, that is called as Sakama. And Nishkama means you are doing an activity without expecting any fruits. You are doing just for sake of doing it, duty. And Akama is you do your activities, but every activity you're doing for the sake of Lord Krishna. Neither for you nor like nor it's like that. It is only for Krishna. That is called Akama. Akama is devotional service. Nishkama is non-fruitive activity, and Sakama is fruitive activity.
And we should aspire for Akama, Proji.
Yeah, but however, it gradually develops. Krishna gradually elevating want to fight. Now he's telling that you fight as a duty without expecting any fruits. Nishkama, for sake of doing. And gradually we'll tell him to come to devotional service. Do it only for me. Do it only like that, he elevates.
Understood. And understood. And here Nishkama is I think very difficult than Akama. Akama we have some positive attachment, and Nishkama is like we are not having any attachment, so that is very difficult stage to stay. And if you Akama is, I think if you are able to get attached to the positive or positive side, then I think it is very, there is a kind of direction and pull in that direction. Here I would like to end over here, and thank you very much for attending. And I'm still not eligible to speak, but because of instruction I did something. And thank you very much for like patiently listening to me. Here I see
think
some.
Arunab Prabhu had some questions. You can answer that.
But without enthusiasm, how can we do any activity? We will not be inclined to be better at our job. For our office work, how to render our activities to please Krishna, because both are completely unrelated. Not enthusiasm. So here, so Aruna Prabhu, here I am asking, in a job, so one thing is very sure, that we should do our 100% on job, and we should at least see that we are getting appreciated from our boss. And if something is lacking for that, it could be the material skill, or it could be some soft skill, or it could be some punctuality issue. We need to have a proper discussion with our boss, and then understand what is required and improve that, and we see that we are doing it best. So once you're able to do that, we can actually feel happy, and we can happily practice Krishna consciousness also, and others by seeing that will also come to Krishna consciousness. So here how that is related, here it is related in two things. One, it will help your own Krishna consciousness to practice nicely, because if you are able to you are happy in your material life, then you can practice spiritual life also happily. So that's why if you see here, persons who actually do good bhakti, or bhakti till 50-60% and left in between, in next birth they are actually given birth in a rich Brahman family or very aristocratic family, because they will find some time and mental space to practice. Here also, if you're able to perform your job properly, then you will have some space to happily perform your Krishna consciousness. And then here by practicing and by practice, and one way to do that is also by investing 1-2 hours daily for Krishna. It will actually sharpen your mind, and then it will help to perform good in your job also. So these both are interlinked. And how it will work is, one is to your spiritual life, as I mentioned, you can happily practice, and second is it will inspire others also to practice Krishna consciousness. uh, Others can add. Rajiv, Prabhu, Balrangan, Proji, if you have connection, can add to this.
Maybe Rajiv Prabhu, Arnav Prabhu, they can share some point on this.
Hare Krishna, Bhagi. So, what I feel is that, for the second question that I mentioned, the explanation for that, that is fine. I agree to your points that with a financially stable mind, and then we don't have other, distractions, and we can devote the little time that we get into Krishna consciousness, but devoutly. There will be no distractions. So, and as time passes, as years of our sadhana goes on, then at least we'll be better than what we were yesterday. So I agree with that point. But I'm a little bit confused regarding that. You mentioned that we should do our activities without any sense of return. So that is mentioned in the Gita as well, that you should do your activities, and for the results you should not be dependent whether it will come good or bad. You should do your best. But in a reality sense, if we do not get results, or we do not get a little appreciation, maybe verbal or in monetary or in any other way, so it does not keep us motivated. So if there is no motivation or enthusiasm, not every day but at least once in a week or twice in a even once in 2 weeks, then we will not be able to push ourselves, and then it becomes very boring. Then उसके बाद हो जाता है कि ऑफिस आना है, ऑफिस से जाना है, और कुछ भी करके you have to spend the day and don't get in the line of fire and save yourself. That's it. But that is not a good way. I find it very toxic, because at the end of the day, most of us are we have done good studies. So this is not the life that we have chosen for ourselves, right? So उसके लिए कैसे कैसे कर सकते हैं, मतलब to keep ourselves enthusiastic, because not everybody will be following our channels also, because sometimes अभी तो ठीक हो गया, but initially I still got certain of the comments from other people, so directly or indirectly. तो ठीक है, that वो तो चलता ही रहेगा. So that is the question that I want to put across to the floor. So how to keep yourself motivated कि नहीं, जो भी हो जाए ये मेरा कर्म है, I'm getting paid for this. That is the contract between me as an employee and my employer. So I should do my duty, but तब भी without appreciation, or how to keep yourselves motivated. In the spiritual sense, material sense तो ठीक है, in the spiritual sense.
Rajiv, Prabhu, you would like to answer? So Prabhuji, I think Balrangan Prabhuji's network is not there. Prabhuji may answer better, but these are my just 2 points on this. One is how we can perform without any motivation. So here the only motivation for us is how we can please Krishna by doing this activity. If I do this activity properly, then everyone will appreciate me, and that's how everyone will get inspired to bhakti. So if you are actually, our root cause is Krishna, 2 things will happen. We actually get motivated to do the best so that we can get appreciation, and that will be a platform for us to introduce others to Krishna consciousness. So that is one. So the motive is to just the motive is to please Krishna. So once we have that motivation, we can perform better. And second is, once we are not getting attached to it, and once we are doing it for Krishna, we will be away from the wrongdoings. For example, there could be some loopholes, or there could be some cheating nowadays. If you see in the material life, in like if you see some people day in and out, we get some news saying that this person has cheated this much in the company, this so we'll be quite far from that, because we are doing it from Krishna. And we are for sure, if you have, sometimes we'll be put in a situation where we are uh, tempted to do wrong, so it is just one step away, and that we will be far off, and then we will do in a right manner. This is my understanding, Proji, but I hope I'm not able to answer this fully, as Balram
No, no,
want to please.
Prabhu, I agree with you. I agree with you. So I'll give you an example, like what I used to do. While I used to go to office, I used to chant my rounds. So पहले क्या करते थे? So I used to take my mala in my bead bag, and that bead bag was inside my bag. So nobody actually knew what I was. My hand was inside my bag. Nobody actually knew what I was doing. So one day I found one of the devotees. He in the metro, and he was also chanting, but his mala was outside. So I thought that, see, this particular person, he is highly exalted, but he's also going to office and everything, but his mala is out. And seeing him, I feel that okay, I am empowered. Nobody is. People might think what is he doing, but that is only for 30-40 seconds. Otherwise, uske baad everybody is like an idiot is looking into their phone only. So it doesn't really matter. So I started doing my rounds, and right now, till I enter my office gate, I am doing my rounds with my mala in my hand. So that is because that I want to tell somebody, or if somebody watches me or observes me, then I want to be an example for them in the very modest sense that नहीं office कर सकते हो in and your office going person, ठीक है, you don't need to be an dhoti kurta and Vaishnav tilak and all that all the time, but whatever little way you can contribute to Krishna, you can do it. So my way of contributing is that if I am able to chant my rounds and walk on the road without any inhibitions, then that might inspire other people also. And nowadays I see a lot of people are doing it, not in the metro, but different jagah pe mere ko dikhta hai. They are doing it without any inhibitions. So that is how I try to inspire them and bring them into the path of the Lord. Some office mein kuch ho jata hai kisi ko, and I tell them to please pray to Krishna and to pray to Nrsimhadev, their son and or their father will get well. So when they do eventually get well, I try to inspire them कि देखो भगवान ने तुमको help किया है, so now you should give it back. The first thing you should do is to give back your time rather than money. वो तो बाद में आता है. After your heart changes, slowly you will start donating even if nobody asks you to. But try to give much more time, try to give much more association. So this is how I try to push them, even though I am I don't know who is pushing me, but in the little sense I try to push them. So is this what you meant by be an example for others, so that others also try to associate with Krishna? Is this what you meant, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Here, as you rightly are doing chanting. So, for example, in the same, I'm just giving a scenario, Prabhuji. Like the same thing, if in a school, in a class, I think if everyone is going to class, and on the way, if someone is chanting, then if I see that average person is chanting versus a school topper is chanting, it will have a different impact. So this will actually like if a school topper is chanting, it will have more impact. So that's how we can perform our duty, material duty. Oh, I am a devotee, like if I do perform well, then I will have more impact on others for them to practice Krishna consciousness. So that can be motivation for our material duty in terms of connecting to Krishna consciousness.
Okay, bro. Thank you
So much. So we will end here. Thank you so much for everyone.
Krishna. So it is nice that both of you shared very important points. One point I would like to add, if I'm audible.
Yes, Raj, very much audible.
Yeah. One point I very much appreciated. From your examples only, this point has come out. We as a devotee we live only for serving and pleasing Guru and Krishna. That is the only motivation we live for. So, however, while living this motivation, we try to dovetail every aspect of our life, our career, our personal life, our health, our way of living, our services, everything we try to dovetail as a service to please Guru and Krishna. So that is the only motivation we have. However, to come to that motivation, we dovetail all our other motivations in line with it. Without motivation, you can't work. So Krishna is not telling to Arjuna and Nishkama that you don't be enthusiastic. He's telling do your duty for the sake of duty. See, for sake of duty means as a service to the dharma principle. Dharma, to establish dharma, for that he need to work. He has to work for someone. If not for himself, he has to work for dharma. And later he elevates him to the platform of working for Krishna. So like that it is. It is not it is not work without any motivation, without enthusiasm. It's not possible. Without enthusiasm, you cannot go ahead in life. However, enthusiasm may not come every time to you. You may not be enthused all the 24 hours, but we should be committed all 24 hours. We have to be committed all 24 hours and we should continue. Inspiration, enthusiasm, they come at times. If somebody says, Prabhu, I will practice devotional service if I'm inspired. So inspiration you may get some or other, like when you go for yatras or when you get to see your spiritual master, you hear from him, or you do certain service which is very liking to you. Then you will get inspiration. Inspiration, not that every moment you get inspiration. So life cannot go just based on inspiration. Our life cannot move just based on enthusiasm. We should be committed. That is more important part. Hare Krishna. And one more thing, I request each devotees, if I am, so please, how many of you registered for the Vrindavan Yatra? In Durga Puja time, we are going for annual Vrindavan Yatra. Please do it fast, soon, as time is very less. I think Chetan